Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid health insurance program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income. Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid health insurance program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
Hello, welcome to the show. This is the Ghana Agenda. My name is Alfred Amuzu, and today is 30th of April 2022. And today we have two interesting topics that we'll be talking about. The first one is who should lead the NPP? Bawumia, Alan Charmante, or Alan Cash, as shortly called, or both of them. We've heard over the week claims or a statement made by Nana Akomia about the fact that it may be the right time for the two leading candidates to kind of form a consensus ticket. So we are going to delve into that. I'll be, asking this of my guests who are regular panelists. In this case, I already have one of them joining me. Marv, I got two. So I already got Afa Mayor joining, and then I have Kojo DC, who would also be joining me today. If you're lucky, we'd also have would have Lifetime Legacy joining, and of course Paul DeSosu of the NDC Massachusetts branch would also be joining. But the second thing we want to talk about today is the Department of State's report on human rights for Ghana. And this is an annual report that is released by the State Department, and it usually goes into different things. To me, reading that report, I'm almost thought the State Department actually listens to the Ghana agenda, because almost all the things we cover on this program are included in that report. Corruption, abuse of power, our prisons and how crowded they are, etc., etc. There's so many instances. They gave so many examples that we'll be going into today. But without further ado, let me bring in my two early comers. Of course, we already got a message from Akko Radio that says they are the first to join the show today. So thanks to my Akko family for their support. Let me bring to the show the Venerable Efa Ameya, who is the Communications Director of Deputy Communication Director of NPP in the USA. Mr. Ameya, you are looking sharp today. And thanks for joining the show. I also have, we also joined by Lifetime Legacy and also Kojo DC. So I think we have a full house right now. We're just waiting on Paul Disosu to also join us, and we would be done with the number of all the guests that will be joining today. So welcome to the show, gentlemen. How are you guys doing today?
Thank you for having us. We are doing well.
Great. I find you looking sharp. I love it.
So I'm going to top it up with I was dressing up, and then I had to quickly come on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on my way to the handing over ceremony for MPP Chicago.
Okay.
We did our elections, and I was a member of the elections committee.
Okay.
And so I was the EC.
Okay.
I was the EC. Yeah, free and fair with all the competence, and we brought all that we've learned from back home.
Perfect.
Onto the field, and then today is the handing over. So it's gonna be fun. Maybe I got there, take some two thoughts, and then have some.
Oh no! You want to do this?
Oh yeah. It's called the appetizer.
All right. So I'm sure you do a better job than the current EC we have. I'm sure EC looks good on you. Let's put it that way. Yes, sir. Yes. Talk to me, Lifetime Legacy.
I know he will do a good job as far as his party is concerned. If he doesn't do it that way, there's no way he can canvass more votes for Bawumia.
All right. We all understand he's Alan Shamante guy, but we'll get into all those details today.
Come on. Right. Okay. Listen. On that issue, please. Mm-hmm. I don't have a preference. Okay. I will go with whoever emerges.
So do you buy the theory of Nana Komia?
Oh, I don't buy anybody's theory. I buy a pest theory.
All right, we are joined by Akko More of the Akko Radio, the host of the sports show. Yes, your man.
Is he coming to give us some sports?
Oh yeah, I think he has a sports show tomorrow, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So it's unfortunate the news we heard today is we lost Mino Raiola. I don't know if you are familiar with him. He's one of the superstar sports what do you call them? Agents out there. He represents the likes of Paul Pogba, Haaland, some very big names in the game, and he was sick for a couple of days, and today the news came that we lost him. So may our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. Mr. Kojo, thanks for joining the show. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today? I see you outside making money as usual.
As usual, that's what I have to do. By the grace of God, I'm doing okay. And hello to all my panel members as well, and yourself.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining today, and hello to everybody who is joining us today. Akwesini Mo says yes, that Mini Roller is an agent, superstar agent. Okay, great, guys.
Let me also use this platform to thank my brother Kojo for granting me the audience the last time I spoke with him.
Okay, so you guys got into some business in the background?
Absolutely.
Like I said, We are brothers here. Beside the politics, the most important is to look after each other, brother.
I hear you. I hear you. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're able to do that. All right, guys, if you're watching us, please share the link so that others can also join. Today's show is going to be very interesting. I have assembled some of the best communicators in our industry here in the United States to speak to us about these two topics that we will be delving into today. And the topics are who should lead the NPP? We've heard Nana Akomia proposing that over the years, the NPP usually keeps a balanced ticket, as you see from Edu Boahen all the way down to the current president, Nana Akufo-Addo. It's always someone from the south and someone from the north that would pair on the ticket. But usually, it is not the top candidate of the party. Usually you see, let's say, for instance, in this case, when Nana Akufo-Addo was looking for a vice president, even though the two top candidates were Nana Akufo-Addo himself and Alan Cash or Alan Shamante, he has to balance the ticket, and therefore he went to the north and picked Dr. Bawumia. But here is a unique case where we do have the two topmost candidates or the most popular candidates, Dr. Bawumia and Alan Shamante, being able, if possible, putting themselves together on a ticket. And NPP has never had that opportunity before. So the opportunity then is that instead of going to look for somebody, let's say if Bawumia had won to represent the party, instead of going to look for somebody else in the south, he has another formidable, member of the party who's highly supported in Alan Shamante that he can just slap on the party, and that ticket becomes very formidable. So let's start with Afa on this one. Now, of course, we'll talk about the other, thing which we table, which is the report from the United States about Ghana's human rights records. But let's start on this topic with Afa Mayor. Afa, do you support what we are hearing from Nana Akomia? Nana Akomia being one of the most outspoken members of the party, highly recognized. Even he himself, one would think that he would put himself out to run for president. Of course, nominations have been highly recognized. Even he himself. Somebody's giving us feedback. One would think that he would. Okay, that's okay. Thank you for turning that down. So Nana Akomia, you would think that even he himself would put himself up for candidacy for this year, but of course the nominations haven't been open yet, so that is still that is still not clear whether he's going to run. But he's saying that there is a unique opportunity for the two leading candidates to actually join on a ticket this year. What do you think about that? Do you agree with his assessment, or do you think the person who would be nominated should have the liberty to actually make his own choice? Thank you.
Yeah, if we are not speaking and we can mute, I think it will help us. Thank you very much, and I welcome each and everyone here. Once again, we are here to debate the issues and to contribute our views and opinion towards whatever is going on in Ghana and what we think is the best option out. So we thank the viewers for always being with us, and we appreciate that. I want to thank you, Amuzu, for the opportunity that you always give us. Thank you, and continue to do what you do best. So let's talk about we're talking about NPP's presidential candidate elections and what people have said.
Correct.
So, it is the case that, every now and then there has to be somebody to lead a party. That is what is required in a democracy. So if you take our history as a country, as a political party, NPP, you will realize that, consistently, from 1992, Adubuahi and I think Dr. Selby, all the way Kufuor, Nanado, Nanado, Alan, so it has always been a challenge. And you will agree with me that it has been heated in, trying to look for who is the best candidate to lead. And we've seen what has happened in the past. These things lead to either having a bad loser or a bad winner, or a good loser or a good winner, But all things being said, it is the way to go about it, because it is a democracy. People are going to go into elections and vote. And that is the way we determine which of them is popular. Even though that one is also subjective, depending on what others are able to do behind the scene in order to get elected and stuff like that. Now, so a lot of propositions are coming in. This proposition should not be taken into putting one of the two candidates above the other. But what Nana Kumia was basically saying is that these are the two leading candidates. Is there a way we can piece them together? The truth of the matter is there is a lot of, background discussions ongoing. Okay. But, we are in a party where, people are also going to look at their options and what is it that they want and their own research and what they think the future holds for them. So all these things are going to go into that. There has been a lot of reactions to what Nana Kumia said, which is to be expected, okay? Because somebody want to see a candidate as a presidential person. All of them are coming in hoping and with a strong conviction that they will win. So who will be second to who? That is the challenge that we're facing. But that is a good proposal if it will work. This is not a proposal that is going to say that the party must adopt and work with it.
Okay.
We can begin to talk to them behind the scene and see how best is the way out. But the ultimate goal has to do with them and what they want to do. In a democracy, the last thing you should do is to force people into positions they don't want to work. They may not perform. They may think that no, you people are bullying me or stuff like that. So I strongly believe in competition. Let them compete, so that at all times we have people that have come onto the scene, have contested, what they articulated, how we saw them in the government, and then we'll be able to choose from that.
Right.
Now, so having said that, a lot of people are going to make a lot of very nice suggestions. And as you can also see, a lot of people are also making, for want of a better word, very nasty suggestions, And sometimes that is how it is. That's how people feel. Some people perhaps don't know how to express themselves well. So Nana Kumia, he's one of our fine, personalities in the party, and he's a great communicator, and he put it out there. He's not forcing anybody to be second to anyone, and it is up to us as a party to see if it helps us, and if it is adoptable, why not? But I sit here and I see a contest coming, and Nana Akumia was making that suggestion because when there's a contest, definitely there will be some acrimony and some repair to be done after the contest.
Well,
and
some suggest that when you hear something like that from somebody like Nana Kumia, it's like trying to test the waters with this type of information to see how the public will react. So it's not by chance. This is by design. This is meant to actually test the waters of, okay, if we put this in a public domain, how will people react?
Yes.
And it almost seems like inside NPP, that didn't sound well to most people because people have political ambitions. Nana Akumia and Bawumia are the only ones running. So this is sort of like the Swedru Declaration type of, or sort of diluted Swedru Declaration type of proposition that, the NPP always criticizes the NDC of undemocratic means of selecting people.
Yeah. So I think that in our current dispensation, Swedru Declaration is dead and will not come again. So
yeah, but the diluted version.
Exactly. So what we're going to have is some form of compromise, okay? A situation where there'll be a contest, but one of the leading won't go, and then we'll get a slot because obviously this one will be the whatever. So sitting here, like I'm saying, I see a contest. Now, for me, what I'm going to tell the candidates, especially the leading ones, we always have conversations with the leading candidates. You ask me who the leading candidates are, it's obvious. I'm not going to mention names. And the issue has always been, let us have a clean campaign. Let us make sure, this is internal, but we don't go beyond certain things that becomes a canker after the contest. And each has a strong feeling that, they're popular enough. They've also done their own research and they can win.
Right.
So with my experience in election and in politics and human behavior, do not push people to the background. It is very counterproductive. If people are going to lose,
let them contest. You disagree with Nana Akumia on
let them contest. Let them contest. That is an ideal. What Nana Akumia is saying is an ideal. I don't see it unless something happened. But you see, like I'm saying, with my experience in politics, sometimes people are forced to say yes, but deep within them is no. And when you put them there, you don't get the results.
It's for the greater good, right? For the greater good.
In fact, people will lose and be confident and work. Then you push them, they give up and they mess you up.
Right. Okay.
So human beings want to be whatever. But at the end of the day, we must have good winners and good losers.
Right.
If you have bad winners and bad losers, then you are in for trouble.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I think you suggested that we should allow people to run so that they don't become bitter after the election. If you tell somebody don't run because we've compromised and we've identified some 2 top candidates to lead us, you don't know what happens in campaign. People will say doing the trails, and that perhaps might be their end. So you're somebody who's not a leading candidate or in the bottom, all of a sudden would emerge and rise up to the top to win. But practically what we are talking about, especially being that it's a delegate type of selection, I don't even call it election, that sometimes maybe the best thing to do is to compromise. Let me bring in to this conversation Mr. Apollon Gasto, Lifetime Legacy. Lifetime Legacy. We remember Swedru Declaration where a similar thing occurred where Chairman Rawlings, in this case, he was president then, had appointed or lifted the hand of John Atta Mills to be the one to represent the party. And John Atta Mills went on to become president, who, most Ghanaians actually fell in love with. So the idea is not bad at all. If we identify a particular set of group of people who we think have demonstrated enough that they can lead a party, and therefore, a leader who has done that before himself, or people in prominent position who had opportunity to work with these individuals, come to decide that there should be a consensus, just like the NDC did before. What is wrong with that?
Alfred, thank you, and thank our listeners and viewers for making time to listen to us at this material time. as we discuss the political fortune of our nation,
Right.
regardless of whichever party is concerned, whether it's NDC or NPP, at the end of the day, it is to the country that you and I call home.
Right.
So whatever happens in one particular backyard of a political party must be of a concern and of interest to all of us. So in that regard, I'm going to make my submission. I'll also take the opportunity to say hello to my co-panelists who are also my panelists also over here. Alfred, Nana Komia have been making this call over the last 3 months now, since I have been monitoring.
I think you were saying that since last year.
Okay,
But
so I have been listening to him
now we
making
are in
this
the
call.
political season, so it means something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard him making this call. Anytime there is such a discussion on Good Morning Ghana, he have adopted that position from day one, and he had been advocating strongly for such position.
The question is, what is wrong with that?
For me, there's nothing wrong with it, but then that would be unfair to Alan Martin. I say this because when you recall in 2008, the contest between Akufo-Addo and Alan Martin at Legon, we can say on authority that Akufo-Addo was not duly elected during that Congress, which he continued to become the flag bearer afterwards, 2012.
Has
And now
Akufo-Addo ever be duly elected in your book?
I will finish by the time I finish, you will understand where I'm coming from.
All right, go ahead.
So even in that Congress in 2008, he was not duly elected. Alan Chamati had a gentleman way of doing things with Akufo-Addo. There was a tie, and the two of them supposed to rerun for that particular election. And Alan Chamati honorably decided that he will withdraw from the race and let Akufo-Addo have the chance to go. I recall vividly when Akufo-Addo mounted a podium, he made a statement that suggests that any person who have been in the queue for a long time in their tradition is offered opportunity. So he made a statement that Alan will be the next person to succeed him after his chance. So as a matter of fairness and principle, one is expected that regardless of whatever a contest is going to be, I'm not ruling out a contest, but Akufo-Addo, Alan will have the blessing of Akufo-Addo based on the commitment and the promise he made in 2008. But hey, politics, there is nothing like permanent friends or nothing like permanent enemy. So I won't be surprised. This contest is a contest between the Ashanti and Achim. I say this because the Achim, on the other hand, want to solidify their base by making sure they continue to have Bawumia in their as a candidate, let alone sequence to become the flag bearer of the party. He's the only person who can probably cover some of the wrong deed when the opportunity is given. The Kufuor factor also knows that this is the time for them also to have one of their own to become the president, as they continue to claim, and my brother have also mentioned that it has been of their tradition. So in that regard, there's nothing wrong with Nana Komia's proposal, but this is the reality they are going to face. What does this mean to we in the NDC? For those of us in the NDC, whether it's Alan or Bawumia, the value is the same. Come 2024, NDC is going to win election to form a new government in 2025.
Okay.
That one, it's not arguable, and the NPP themselves even know the signs are clearly on the wall. So we are not worried about whoever the candidate is going to be.
But NPP claimed that even though they might not be popular right now, that by 2024 they would have reorganized their party and win and break the 8. So, where is your how do you inform that position that you are taking that the NDC is bound to become to form the next government?
Alfred, the 8 that they want to break, they have already broken the 8 already by the dollar and the fuel price. So there's no more 8 politically to break. Now let me go by what the question is: what new it's Bawumia bringing on board? That's the
Okay, can you do that for me in 1 minute?
Yes. What new is he bringing on board that they had 8 years he could not do? Okay, so in that regard, for me, I don't see any impact Bawumia will be making in the 2024 election. Now, Alan, for me, I would say is that it's more credible than Bawumia, but what do you call it? Regardless, I'm not going to put all the informations about the dynamics as far as whoever becomes the candidate is concerned, region by region, and the kind of vote that the person have to have in is the basket or to. I'm not going to put that because that would be our strategy as a party that we need to hang on. We need to analyze and scrutinize each of the candidate very well as far as the contest is concerned. But I don't see anything new Bawumia is bringing on board. And for that matter, we as a party in NDC, whether it is Alan or Bawumia, we are ready for them. But like I said,
okay,
it's the honor lies on them to respect their own convention, as they normally used to say that the Nimu Treaty and that kind of thing. So,
all right. Thank you so much.
And this also, just in conclusion, I have been monitoring and listening to the conversation. It looks like I will advise my NPP folks that if they don't want Bawumia, they can do a decent politics. This is not a time where they will bring out where the mom and the grandfather used to vote. And that is becoming too much of the NPP.
All right, cool. Thank you so much for that contribution. Let me bring in my other gentleman who speaks for the NPP, Mr. Kojo DC. Mr. Kojo, so there's been some polls out there that suggest that, when paired with, or when you look at Bawumia against Mahama, Mahama wins. If you look at Mahama against Alan Chamantain, Mahama wins, but not as much as the gap is not as much as it is with Bawumia. And then if you look at Bawumia versus Alan Chamantain actually beats Bawumia. So in suggesting that we should have a consensus ticket, who becomes the presidential candidate and who becomes the vice? Obviously, Bawumia has been a vice president for 4 years, a higher position than Alan Chamantain has ever occupied. It doesn't look like Bawumia will want to play the second fiddle again. If anything, he would want to be the top of that ticket. Do you first of all agree with what our outspoken communication person in Nana Akomia has to say about this? If not, why? Why do you think those two prominent people who on their own individual strengths can pull numbers that would perhaps cause the NPP to actually achieve their aim of breaking the 8? Why shouldn't that be the case? I think we are having some technical issues with Kojo. Kojo, can you hear me?
I guess he's not running away from the question.
He's trying to speak, but we just can't hear him. Kojo, can you hear me? If you can hear me, say, did you get the question I asked? All right, let's take a quick commercial break while Kojo tries to face his sound and come back. We'll be right back.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
All right, welcome back to the show. My name is Akadamuzu, and we are discussing who.
Now, may panel discussion.
All right, I thought we can hear you. Anyway, we are discussing who should lead the NPP for the 2024 election, and I have here with me Kojo DC, who is from the DC area, representing the NPP. I also have Bawumia, also representing the NPP from the Chicago area, but he is the Deputy Communications Director of NPP in the USA. And my good friend, Lifetime Legacy, who speaks for the NDC. Mr. Kojo, can you hear me now? Mr. Kojo, you may be on mute. Kojo, you're speaking, but we can't hear you. All right, I think, yes, you should be good now. Your mic is off mute now. Go ahead. Oh, my God. NPP, we got to get, your people to hook you up with better internet. Can you hear me now? All right, so I think we still have difficulties with Kojo, but he'll keep trying. And as soon as we can hear him, we will bring him in to actually answer the questions put to him. So, Kojo, if I were you, I would log off and log back in.
Exactly. Yeah, Kojo, if you can hear us, you want to log off and log back in.
Log back in. Okay. All right. In the meantime, let's welcome to the show Paul Disosu of the NDC. You already know Paul. He comes with fireworks. Paul. There's a question here from, first of all, welcome to the show today. It's good to see you as always. There is a comment here from Honorable Boslinga. He says that NDC was in comfortable lead in 2026. In other words, he is referring to what my brother Legacy was saying, that as far as the 2024 election is concerned, NDC is going to win anyway, so it doesn't even matter who leads the NPP. Paul, the question I have for you is, we've heard all these things about the NPP wanting sort of a consensus ticket. And we know we've had consensus tickets in our history before, where Chairman Rawlings lifted the hands of Atta Mills, who went on to become a very good president for Ghana. So the antecedent is there, and it is a very good one. why shouldn't the NPP go into a consensus and just choose their candidates who they believe, the two who they believe are best for their fortunes, and avoid spending all the money that they have to spend going around the country trying to campaign, etc., etc. We know it's not cheap. It is expensive. For the NDC, the candidate is almost certain to be John Dramani Mahama, and therefore that going around and campaigning and trying to convince people is not going to be as necessary. But the NDP has to go through that. For them to save money, for them to jumpstart the campaign and do the presidential campaign instead of the primaries, it is important that they come to this consensus. Do you agree with the assessment of Akomia, or do you think, as FA says, they should allow everybody the fair chance of, running and being fairly chosen for the party by the delegates?
Well, thank you very much, and I'm grateful.
I'm back. I hope you can hear me.
Part of this program.
Yes, I can hear you, but let's take Paul Disoso and then we can bring you back. Sorry.
All right.
I'm grateful to be part again this afternoon, and we have come here to speak the truth, nothing but the truth.
Correct.
Well, whatever happens in the NPP is the case of my good friend Ifeanyi and DC. We don't care about whatever happens in their party. What we care about.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean we care? Because everybody.
What we don't care. I am speaking as an official of the party. I am
official of your NDC party. Okay,
NDC party. I'm telling you that we have no concern, or we don't care about whoever they choose to become their candidate.
Okay.
Whether it is Alan Chamante, whether it is Bawumia, they all have baggage around their neck, and they are all part of this super incompetent government that has failed in the history of Ghana. Mr. Amuzu, why am I saying so? The two leading contenders in this contest are both part of this current administration. They are part of the current cabinet of this administration. They are part of the over 68 corruption allegations that has been pressed against this government, which has been hidden. They are part of this corrupt government that allow national security to infringe, terror on the citizenry. They are part of this super incompetent government that has stepped upon freedom of speech, whereby if you are a journalist, a Ghanaian, you speak your mind, they send their people to come after you. They are part of this super incompetent government that lied to the good people of Ghana in 2019 and told us that our deficit was 4.6, but they went to the IMF and told them it's 7.2. The two of them are part of this super incompetent government that allowed their vigilante forces to change or to chase a judge who is sitting in his courtroom in Kumasi. So for me, I am telling you, whether Alan Chamante, whether Bawumia, whether Ifeanyi, whether DC, whatever it is, none of them will be able to match His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. The question over here, and the question that they are going to answer to the good people of Ghana is the over $3 billion, not cedis, $3 billion that they got when COVID strike. They should account for it. They are part of the people who share that money. And if today the good people of Ghana are asking for transparency and they are refusing to do the account to the good people of Ghana, they have no business to come to the good people of Ghana to tell them. I don't know which case they even be selling to the good people of Ghana. When it comes to infrastructure, the deficit over there is bigger than any other government in the history of the Fourth Republic. When we talk about borrowing, this super incompetent government, which my good brother Ifa is part of, have borrowed over 340 billion Ghana cedi. Nothing to account for, nothing to show. If we are talking about super incompetent and deficit, this is the first government in the Fourth Republic that deficit has risen as far as 15.7 in 2020 and then 12.5 in 2021. Mr. Amuzu, with all this I've laid on the table, what would they come to do or how would they come to sell? Whether they bring Alan Chamate and Bawumia is as his vice, whether they bring Bawumia and Alan Chamate as his vice, that is their business. As a matter of fact, I know and I believe that they've cooked it for Bawumia. And why are they doing so? Because they know that the numerous corruption allegations that have been leveled against this government, if Bawumia don't succeed the president to cover all the corruption deals which involve the president, and I can mention two of them. Ejapa, the president is deep in neck involved. And Mary Deal, the president is deep involved. At least these two deals, they know if they don't cover up and bring Bawumia to cover up, His Excellency, the president, will be in big hot waters.
But are you suggesting that if he was Alan Chamate, that he will not cover up?
Alan Chamate might not, will try to cover up, but not as that Bawumia will do. I am saying that they are trying to bring Bawumia to cover up the corrupt deals that they know we will investigate when we come into power on the 7th of January 2025. And I am saying over here that we don't, or it does not matter whoever they brings. Anyway, in the NDC, we are a democratic party. We are going to go to the democratic processes. Whoever is going to contest His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is allowed and will be welcome. And we are going to give them all level playing ground, level playing field. They will go to the contest. But I can tell you as an officer of the party, and I can assure you that whoever will contest His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will not even get 5% of the vote. So that's a done deal. So
yeah, but the suggestion we are, hearing from Nana Kumia, which I think it's sort of testing the waters. This is not by accident. This has been put out there to test how people will respond to it. Don't you think that would make a formidable ticket? Because you're considering that Alan Chamate already has his own followership. In other words, people who follow him, love him, would want to see him as president. And Bawumia has also, after serving, as vice president for the last 6 years or so, gathered his own followership too. So the two
the most shameful vice president for the past 6 years.
Yeah, but the two together on a ticket, doesn't that intimidate the NDC in any bit? Doesn't that kind of spark a little bit of panic in you to say that this could be a force to reckon with? This could be this could threaten your opportunity. Mr.
Amuzu, I will not let you go far. Look,
right.
If they put a far on the ticket,
right,
we'll be more worried, and then be more worried than putting Bawumia and Alan Chamate on the ticket. I am telling you for a fact. There's a whole lot of baggages around their neck, especially Dr. Bawumia, which I know is the favorite of my good brother Ifa. It's his favorite. I am telling you that none of them.
What are some of the baggages you think that he is bringing to?
No, Mr. Amuzu.
Yeah.
The baggage or the question that the vice president is going to answer is number one. When the economic fundamentals are weak, the dollar will expose you. He has to answer that question. He still not answered that question. Number two,
he said it was a warp logic to think that because he said it's a warp logic to think that because the fundamentals are the currency or the what do you call it? The CD depreciates, that means the fundamentals must be weak.
Number two, he will be telling us as Ghanaians, okay, for taking $2.5 million of our taxpayers' money and spending that money among themselves, telling that they brought out hot GPS, Ghana hot GPS. Look, we all know that when that thing was developed, one of our comrades, Kingsley Morty, from here flew to Ghana to challenge them. All what they did was they just these people, they are interesting. They just cooked that connection, just design a pointer and put it on Google. Google always has a Google map.
Right.
And put it on it and took $2.5 million from a good people of Ghana. he has to account for it. It's waiting for him. That's a huge baggage around his neck. Number 3, when it comes to the lies, series of lies he's told to the good people of Ghana, we will put all of them. Look, the 2024 election, Mr. Muzu, is going to be based on fact, evidence, video, audio. Presentation.
Okay, let me also ask. So, what do you think are the baggages that Alan Chamante would bring to the 4th?
Alan Chamante's baggage is a little bit lesser than that of Bawumia. Bawumia has a huge baggage around his neck.
Okay.
Alan Chamante don't have baggages, but he might also struggle a little bit.
What
Some
are they?
of the baggages are the Ekunfi factory. He's the Minister for Trade and Industry. A factory that we borrowed how many millions of dollars? $12 million is, am I right? To build. You ended up trying to sell that factory for less than $5 or $4 or $3 million. Those questions.
$34 million. $34 million.
34 million. Good. Thank you, my brother, for correcting me. You know, I always come clean if I know. I got a factory that was built for $34 million. He has come out to say he has devalued to $12 million.
Right.
Those things are there for him. It's waiting for him. The cash for seat saga, even though it was not he was not the one directly, it happened under his ministry, whereby Carlos took some money for cash for seat for people to sit beside the president. All those things, the NPP used their numbers to bulldoze through, and they did not allow proper investigation to take place. You remember, for the cash seat for cash for money, the minority wrote their report. They stepped and they did not allow that report to suffice.
Okay.
They rather brought their cooked report.
Okay.
So as for me, I'm not a member of the NPP, but if I can tell you on authority that the NPP party I know, we are all political animals. Okay. If the current president, who is vindictive, who is always authoritative, who also want to go to other people, who allow free, fair, and transparent election without not interfering in the processes, I can tell you, and I can bet my $500 on it, that Bawumia can never beat Alan Chamante. Look, let me tell you, the NPP fraternity, they are people, they believe in loyalty. As much as I have taken this off air with my good brother Efa, that Alan Chamante will be having that tag whereby he resigned from the party, I don't think it's going to be a big deal, even though circumstances beyond his control made him to resign. But within I think 3-4 months, he came back to the party. So that is that's going to be a hurdle for him. But if you're talking about loyalty, Alan Chamante is next in line to be giving that presidential slot. Why? Because at Legon, when they went for Legon, when Nanado became the president, there was instances where they were supposed to go for a roundup.
Right.
Because Nanado did not get the 58+1.
Right.
Alan and Nanado were the two top contenders.
So they compromised.
Alan is a peaceful person. And he want and love his party. He allowed and said, let Akufo-Addo go. And if Akufo-Addo is mindful and a sportsmanship person, as he claimed that he's a sportsman, he should do the right thing. He should not interfere. He's not allow his national security to interfere, intimidate people. There's a free and a fair election, and I believe His Excellency Alan Chamante will end up being the candidate. Hey,
you already giving him His Excellency. Thank you for that.
Of course. In 2046, when they'll be coming back to power, he might be in his 80s, so he might be leading the party.
No, we don't need another 80-year-old at this time. Anyway.
And I hope Dr. Atu should not come and do any propaganda here, because I'm ready for him.
Yes, Dr. Atu just said us greetings. He says...
He's there. I can see him on the show. He's on the show.
All right. Okay, thank you so much for that submission. All right, let me bring in my brother, DC. DC, can you see if your sound works now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you so much. So, DC, you've heard Paul DeSoso. Paul DeSoso says that the two candidates that you are contemplating building a consensus tickets around both have baggages. He went and enumerated some of the baggages that they each carry. Um, my position really is that you will save money if you actually bring a consensus ticket. These two individuals, in fact, already have their own following. That it just makes sense. It just the only I believe question that we have to battle with is who's going to be at the top, and I don't foresee Bawumia actually wanting to step down for Alan Chamate to lead the party at this point, but I may be wrong. Now, how long can one be a vice president, right? He will be the only one in the history of Ghana, if to be vice president for 16 consecutive years. I don't see it happening. But let me pick your thoughts on this. Do you agree with what your spokesperson is saying in Nana Akomia that perhaps the opportunity has presented itself that balanced ticket is produced out of the two leading candidates?
Thank you, Amazu, again. First of all, I apologize for the network. I wanted to use my other phone so that it will not be interrupted when people call on this line, but it seems that was not working properly. So that's the reason. And where I am is not really convenient for this network. Okay, and I agree to my brothers online, Lifetime, to Paul, and then my communication director himself. First of all, this is what I want to just bring across first. It seems these days in Ghana, right, nobody can make any suggestions. We say we are in the democracy, right? And if you translate it in whatever language we give, if it's Ghana, if it's tree, kabi. Is that not what we are saying?
Right.
So if people are bringing suggestions, why should people be insulted or people who disagree? We can agree and disagree. So why are people insulting? So let me come to the substantive issue itself.
Nobody's insulting. Is anybody?
No, there are a lot of. No, I'm not talking on the show. I'm just in general. I'm not talking on the show at the moment.
Okay.
I'm just in general. Since this thing came out, you've had a lot. Sometimes I'm in the media myself, so sometimes I don't really take the headlines to read the tea leaves of whatever it is. But if you hear, oh, Kusipra said this is rubbish, that's it. Why do we have to go to that extent? And then you hear other people from my own party saying all sorts of things about the vice president and so forth and so on. It is something that somebody, if you listen to the tape itself, right? The Nakumia suggests, this is what he suggested. He said, hey, what if Alan Chamantin wins the flag bearership? He hasn't said anything not to contest. He even mentioned of other people who have served well the party very well, but at the end of the day, there are two leading people in every contest. We almost have that two leading people that will always be competing. Since our Fourth Republic, that's how it has been the show, right? So at the end of the day, what if Alan Chamantin wins? And then he said, let's compromise and bring Bawumia. Or if Bawumia wins, let's compromise and bring Alan Chamantin. In another case, let's turn it around. Since the Fourth Republic, from Dubois into J. Kufuor to the current president, we've always chosen enough now. So should in case the table turns, what is wrong with it? And it's just a suggestion. It doesn't mean that it's going to be future, right? It's not something that is going to come into being until we all go into elections, see which one is going to come victorious. At the end of the day, we are just suggesting now there might be somebody come from nowhere, like it happened in 2008 here in the United States, and then Obama came over and then take over, right? He wasn't even among the top 5 that people might even think of, right? So we might have some charismatic guy come in, bring in the different ideas or whatever it might be, and then we have somebody in. So this is just.
Are you talking about a farmer, y'all?
If a far comes, we'll just go on a contest. You see, very soon I'll become an officer of the party. So now I have the liberty to speak whatever I want to speak. But in some few days to come, I won't be able to just spew out anything that I feel like.
I think you'll still be able to speak your mind.
The fact that I will, but
should not gag you.
No, of course. I have a conviction. I have a conviction that if something is wrong, something is wrong. But talking about people having baggages, everybody has baggages. Who does not? We on this platform has something that is wrong. We all have. but we'll see which one outweighs each other. Is the baggages outweigh the good of the persons who will be, for instance, become the flag bearer of the NPP? That is the electorate of Ghanaian people who will decide. They'll say, okay,
But
this is what we've seen from the vice president for this long. This is what we've seen from the former president for this long. This is what we've seen from the former trade minister for this long. Let's make comparison. Is the good outweigh the bad? And then the Ghanaian people will make a decision, right? So concerning about we have baggages, I don't really care. Like last week when we spoke, I said a lot of things about the former president, not in a negative way, but I was talking about the times where he was in office, the things that he did under his leadership. I said all of that, and you were even saying, do you think that's all? He has a good part of it. Yes, he did the good things too, but we just have to compare both. Whoever becomes our candidate, that will determine who's the Ghanaian people say, okay, do we have to continue another 4 years of NPP, or do we have to go back with them? So it is the NDC. And concerning my brother said we are going to, we've had this thing before. In 2000, what did not be told to the Ghanaian people? Like, hey, listen, when we come, we'll prosecute the people who kill, may his soul rest in peace. The late Yana, the late, what is the name? Buba, so I forgot his name. He was in Yendi prison. There was all sorts of corruption that was alleged of President Kufuor's ministers and so on and so forth. Not a single person was prosecuted. Not a single person was able to jail. Everybody, when they go, they lose. So this is normal for NDC to be doing propaganda, saying all sorts of things like, oh, when we come, we investigate by whatever branding, whatever. There's nothing there. Like I always tell people, we are just be politicians. We
so you agree
chose
with
the easiest way.
You do agree with Akumia, correct? Is that what you're saying?
I will say yes in the sense that it's a suggestion.
Okay,
let's bring out.
Let me ask the next question. Yeah. Why is it that the party is so fixated on personalities versus ideas? Because in as much as we want to see the two top leading candidates, it is interesting that nobody's talking about what Bawumia would do when he become president versus what Alan Chamante would do when he become president. All we are talking about is Alan Chamante, Bawumia, as if the personality is enough. We are in America, and we believe that politics should be devoid of just strong personalities and more of ideas that will move the country forward. Where is the idea?
Right. This is the we've not crossed that bridge yet, and this is what you have to understand. This is just a suggestion. We've not even opened nomination for the whatever, even if the NDC or the NPP. We are all suggestion.
But
when it comes to when
we are pretty much actually drawing the conclusion. Now let's put us on a consensus ticket when we haven't heard what Napo wants to do for the country, or we haven't heard what Mr. Akoto, what is it? The Minister of Agriculture wants to do for the country. Oh, yeah. So no. Other people in the trenches who, per FR submission, should also be given the chance to actually express their ideas. Then
nobody is saying, and like I said,
no, because I asked you whether you agree with. I ask you whether you agree with.
Because it's a suggestion. It's not nothing. He's not imposing anybody's on anybody. It's just a suggestion that he thought at the end of the day, if, for instance, we go to Congress and at the end of the day, Alan Chamantin becomes the flag bearer, he will wish that he brings Bawumia on board to become the vice president. If it turns out to be the vice versa, it becomes the same way.
That's not what he's saying.
That's not.
He's saying.
No, that's what. No, go and listen to his interview. No, please.
He's saying that there should be a consensus between the two leading candidates of the party so that they can avoid. I even listened to him on Good Morning Ghana, where he was saying that it would make sense, number one, because they wouldn't have to go through all this process of speaking to the delegates at each of the constituencies, and they can now focus on the general election. So pretty much what he's saying is that
where are you quoting or somebody? Is he a quote or something that has been written on the newspapers or tablets? Because I listened to him.
This is directly from Akumia himself on what was that? Was he the Friday or so when he was on the show with Honorable
Randy
Abe and Honorable.
Go listen, please. Let me land this. Listen, go to CD FM, right, and listen to the interview that he granted. He was really specific. He said,
well, I think you haven't listened to him after that because he's been talking. He hasn't stopped there. Like I said, on the Good Morning the Good Morning Ghana, he went further to say one of the reasons, so one of the advantages could be that, you know, it would prevent the candidates from having to go around trying to campaign. Huh?
But he's not imposing. That's a suggestion. He's not imposing his will on anybody.
But
that's what I'm
his suggestion. If you agree with him, by you agree with him, by majority of the people within the party agree with him,
who are the majority? Have we made any polls to see who is the majority, who is the minority of which side? We're just throwing things out there. There's nothing like a majority and minority concerning this very case.
What I'm saying is, for what he's suggesting to work, right? For what he's suggesting to work, it means that he's asking for a bypass. He's trying to say that the NPP should bypass the customs and the conventions that they've had for all these years, where they will go to Congress. As a matter of fact, have campaigns done in all the constituencies to convince the delegates to come and then vote for the candidate who will lead the party. He's saying that there should be a consensus, sort of like we saw in the NDC.
What is wrong with consensus? What is wrong? So now we have a problem with consensus. Is that what you're? Even from your own, what you just said, you're saying he's suggesting. He didn't say, "Hey, this is what we have to do." Or maybe he becomes a chairman of the party and say, "We are not going to Congress. Let me sit this before that." It's a suggestion. That's what we call democracy. It's very expensive. It doesn't mean that we are not going to Congress. As of now, we are here electing branch officers and all of that in our constituency, chairmen and all of that. And that is the process that leads to we having our national chairman, and then we have the presidential candidate. So this is a process that he has just thrown it out. If, for instance, we go to Congress and somebody wins, let me tell you something. In 2008, right, when it happened, even though I disagree vehemently with Lifetime that Nanado never won, why did Alan Chamantin conceded and say, "I'm not running"? Because Nanado had the most votes, even though he didn't cross that 50 plus. So let me just put that in 2008. For me, my thinking was Nanado shouldn't have brought all these candidates that he ran with. Give them like somebody like Apreku. He gave them director of finance. He was controlling finance. He was keeping the money and not distributing to the other people to do it. So, but what did they do? It divided the party. So maybe Nana Kumia have seen, like at the Kennedy Road, they changed the elephant to the bush. We have seen the mistake that we did in 2008. That divided the party. That becomes a Kufuor's fashion and then a Kufuor's fashion. Now we've been in government for 8 years now. The Kufuor's fashion that we thought we don't agree with, we don't even want to bring them. Alan Chamantin is the most, I don't know when he's going to resign or he's going to go off. He's the most served Minister of Trade ever in the Republic of Ghana, in the Fourth Republic, right?
Okay.
This is the same people. So what we're saying, he's saying
that for me so that we can move to the next topic.
Yes, what we're saying is this is a suggestion that he has brought it up. Is that something that is good for us? We all have to debate and think if it's right or not. Other than that, I don't see any biggie on this. And before I conclude, all this issue talking about the Ghana GPS will be prosecuted. See, or it was lifted from Google and then listen, the 26th alphabet. We don't we have that 26th alphabet? Everybody know ABC to Z, but somebody made words out of it. It's the same thing. It's something that is already in existence that you create something out of it. Facebook and all of it was created, some structures that was already in place, and somebody had a different idea but to bring something out of it. Nothing in this world is in the vain. There's always something of existence, and then somebody will say, "Oh, this is how this thing is. Let me add something to it so it'd be useful to other people." So we'll be welcoming whoever comes in there with their suggestions, like we're going to prosecute, we are ready. What happened to 22.5 billion Ken bond? Yokujeto came here and spoke all sorts of things. Where nobody, it's just political noise.
Okay.
They're ready. We'll be there. I hope they will never even win, but if they do, we'll be waiting.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Let me take this quick comment and then we'll take a break, come back and discuss the next topic. Echo Radio. I'm sure somebody's hiding behind Echo Radio there. Says Mr. Buzu. Nana Akumia doesn't speak for the NPP party. He's just stating his opinion. Let's not fixate on that. Yeah, but what we are saying is, this could be a test of the waters. Of course, when Nana Akumia speaks, he's not speaking out of ignorance. This is somebody who speaks for the party on issues. Bring it. He speaks for the party. So he's not just saying this because he woke up this morning or that morning and thought this is a beautiful thing to say. I think Mr. Akumia is testing the waters with a possibility. And we are saying that should that be the case, if, what Akumia said, should that be something the party wants to practice? Well, should that be something the party wants to embark on? What is going to happen is it will cause for, or I'm describing it as a situation where, the party is not even considering ideas at all. They're not considering what somebody like the Agric minister would do for the country. They're not considering somebody like Napo, who's also interested in becoming president, would do for the country. They just fixated on the personalities. And they are saying that, let's bring Bawumia and whatever to lead the party, when in fact, what we should be doing is considering ideas. Let's take a quick break. When we get back, we would discuss the United States Department of State's Human Rights Reports on Ghana for 2021. We'll be right back.
Just one more pic, JJ, please.
Oh, Mama. Really?
Smile. It's not every day my eldest son graduates.
I couldn't have done it without you.
All without Auntie Jane's generous support.
Here is to Auntie Jane's well-appreciated World Remit money transfers.
World Remit Corporation is licensed as a money transmitter by the New York State Department of Financial Services, as a foreign transmittal agency by the Massachusetts Division of Banks, number FT 1179663, and licensed by the Georgia Department of Banking and Finance, NMLS 1179663. Massachusetts Foreign Transmittal License, FT 1179663.
World Remit, a better way to send money. Download the app or visit worldremit.com.
All right, welcome back to the show. This is the Ghana Agenda. We are on every Saturday from 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 4 p.m. Usually joined by some of my good friends, some of the best in the business who speaks for their various parties. I'm again here today with Mr. Efa Ameya, who's the Deputy Director of Communications for the NPP in the United States. We also joined here today by Paul Isosu, who's also, I think, the Secretary of NDC in the Massachusetts area, and Kojo DC, who's aspiring to become an executive member of the NPP, and of course, Lifetime Legacy is also with us. Okay, so we've just finished talking about who should lead the NPP and whether it should be Bawumia or Alan Chamante, or both. For now, let's switch our attention to a report that was released by the United States Department of State, which is like in Ghana, we'll call that the Foreign Ministry. They've made some claims, and this is an annual report they release, not only on Ghana, but on various other countries, on all countries, to say. And this year's reports, just like reports from other years as well, has stated that there's routine corruption practices within our governments. Our government continue to practice corruption with impunity. They further said that despite the fact that laws specify consequences for corrupt officials, that the government rarely carries those laws out. They say bribery is endemic in the country's public sector, citing the Auditor General's reports. They say corruption was present in all branches of government, according to the media. the NGOs, including even recruitment into the security services. They said things like even the embassy in the United States was not able to account for $355,000 in visa fees that they've collected. They said that the free SHS secretariats misspent more than $3.6 million, or they spent $3.6 million that they cannot account for. A former minister of tourism taking three cars, for his personal use after they left government. In other words, he's talking about NDC time there. He says that corruption practices result in about $340 million of financial mismanagement, including misapplication, misappropriation of funds, theft, and procurement mismanagement. Corruption remains a serious issue. They talk about all types of cankers within our society. They talk about our prisons being overcrowded. We have about 11,000 persons in a 9,000 capacity prison. In other words, our prisons are about 130% full. In other words, 35% more people. And the reason the prisons get filled up is indiscriminate arrest and locking up of people, even though we have a law that says that people should be arraigned in court within 48 hours after they've been arrested. That is not happening, and you will see even juveniles being mixed with the adult population. You would even see real prisoners being mixed with people who are just being remanded pending court appearance. So much it's actually continuing to deteriorate in our country over the years, and we want to interrogate that. So let me bring back my guest, and who wants to go first in this case? Let me see if let's take it. Let me ask you the first question, Afa. So we've elected this government because we thought there was corruption. Of course, this is what they actually, or the Nana Akufo-Addo and Bawumia campaign on, that they are going to make corruption very expensive that if you even want to be in their government and be rich, this is not, or don't, if you want to be rich, then don't join the government, etc., etc. We've set up the special prosecutor's office, but there's not a single case that has been prosecuted out of that office. Even a new one coming on, we're all hopeful that something new is going to happen. Nothing continue to happen. So is the United States right to kind of point out all this? Even though we know the US have their own problems, it looks like nothing is changing in Ghana and things are actually even getting worse. What do you say to the United States with all the things they are pointing to, that because of these things, our record is looking bad and bad year after year?
Yeah, thank you very much. But before I go on that, I want to explain something. First, to lifetime legacy. Yenim wufritete is a word for our elected presidential candidate to the Ghanaian people. Okay? It is not to say that this is somebody in line, so give it to him. When we talk about tradition in our party, we are talking about formation of the party. There is no tradition that I want people to tell me which tradition tells who is going to be a presidential candidate after this one. There's nothing like that. Every single one has been contested. Every single person that has led NPP has been contested. So this idea of somebody should give something to somebody, it's neither here nor there.
How about the promise made by Nanado to?
It is a campaign. It is a campaign message to people, but at the end of the day, it depends on the people, on those who are going to be elected. Nanado cannot tell me, Kakape, as a delegate, to do this. They can only campaign and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't even understand that aspect. So that is it. Now, so that is for you. Now, when Paul was talking about Bawumia being not having done anything about Commander Sugar Factory. See, that in itself is the baggage Mahama has. That you're telling me that somebody as president could not perform, that he expect a minister to do what he didn't do for him. That it is the first time since NDC came to power, for that matter, Mahama, that we are hearing that you have to go and renovate a factory. Renovate a factory for 34 million before you think of the raw materials. And they know it was because of the challenges with raw material. That is why they abandoned it. So if you messed up, could be a traveler, and then you want somebody to cover up for you, to clean up your mess, that is a baggage for Mahama. And as for the baggage, oh my goodness, we have our research that tells us that if Mahama contests, he will win. Oh yes, we're ready. The baggage, we have a package for him and we'll deliver it to him. So that is that. Now let's go to the election, the US. You see, to the report that the US presented, what I'm going to tell the US government is that a prostitute does not go and tell a fornicating pastor what to do. A prostitute does not go telling a fornicating pastor what to do. We have challenges in our system. We have all these things in that system. What is it that the US said that is not worse under their system here? The killings, the drugs. Is it about prostitution? Is it about corruption? Is it about abuse of office? Or they pontificate and then go out there and tell somebody that this is you and that is you? They don't have that moral right to tell us what we should be doing in our system. They have a lot at their backyard, and they should look at doing them. Injustice. Are you kidding me? Injustice. Injustice. Huh? That American system is telling us that, they even have a Department of Justice, that they deliver justice to whatever that other people should emulate or should do what. Let me tell you.
You can say that the Justice Department is as corrupt as ours, or the judiciary is
the issue. Yeah, but okay.
You see, the judiciary has been figured out in so many surveys, including even the one, the report we are reading now, that our judiciary is one of the most corrupt institutions in Ghana. The surveys that we've actually done in Ghana pointed out. Yeah,
we have a problem. We have reports and stuff like that. We need to work on that. No two ways about that. Okay, most of what they enumerated, we already know them, and some of them we've worked on it. Now, if you go to our history, all right, some of these judges were killed because of this perceived thing. There is a way we should look at how we're going to resolve this, because if you look at when some of these judges were attacked all the way up to this time, and we sit here and we still say the same thing. You see, there is something fundamentally that has been left over the years. And we always say, yes, we should work on it. The prisons being overcrowded, we always talk about it. Okay, I don't know if I think only in the Scandinavian countries where you have their prison, but the prison in America, really? The prison in America, if it is not overcrowded, it is business.
Well, in our case, the prison are so crowded, they don't even get food for us, especially for instance, if you.
Okay, talking about our case, right? Talking about our case and our prison. People who are not in prison are going hungry. So you go to prison and you expect to be fed.
Well, the thing is this. For instance, if you get remanded and pending appearance in court, you don't even get fed at all. Your family has to feed you.
Those cases are worse.
If don't feed you, the police have to actually go into their pocket in order to buy you food. And we are saying that some of these things has been with us for years. But at the same time, we are building a cathedral. At the same time, we are spending money on things that you and I would, question that, because the thing about the prison is, if you don't fix it now and something happened to you and you go into the prison yourself, who said,
oh, that one. In fact, that I don't have. You see, there are certain things. Let us not have mercy for the leaders on it. Like a leader ends up in prison. A leader is killed on our road. A leader goes to hospital, and because we don't have, they get killed. Don't have mercy for them. Have mercy for the one that is innocent, that did not have access. So, as for a leader having the taste of these things, I always want them to, like on the road, they get killed. The politicians and those that are supposed to fix it. That something happens, emergency, they go to the hospital and they have a taste of it. So we don't build those things for them. They are over there to build it for the people that are vulnerable.
Yeah,
okay?
I'm bringing this up because you're comparing the United States having prison issues with the Ghana.
What I'm saying is
there are a lot of prisons, but their prisons are now overcrowded.
What I'm saying is that their prisons may not be overcrowded, but people go out there and they become worse into the system. There are neighborhoods. Listen, there are neighborhoods that you call police, they are not even going to show up in America here. Right. There are places that is just they're giving birth for people to end up in prison.
No, I mean, is the police even making choice not to come up because how dangerous the place
and all that kind of stuff. Now, I was talking to a police officer
before they show up.
I was talking to a police officer in Chicago, a Ghanaian police officer last week. You see, there is not a match between the people that are retiring and those that are getting in, because they're getting shot and people don't matter. Every weekend in America, Google. I am not saying we shouldn't pay attention to what the report is saying, but where it's coming from. A prostitute preaching to a pastor that has fornicated, So what I'm saying is that, you see, we should take off this mindset of somebody can come and fix your whatever for you. We have a problem as a country. There has been consistent report locally that deals with some of these things that has always brought them up. Government come, government go. They promise to do this, take care of this and take care of that. We should pin them towards resolving our issues, other than it becomes a topic because America is talking about it, or Israel is talking about it, or all these people are talking about it.
Are you disappointed that we still have not dealt with some of these problems that?
Yes. Yeah. Very much disappointed. Now you see, so we need to, like, all that we talked about, right? For instance, you see, when we talk about bribery in the judiciary, right? A case in point is the person that made allegation against the Chief Justice. How many months now? And what has happened to it? So some of these things feed into people thinking that maybe there's something. Clear it, and then let's move on forward. You get what I mean?
But let it be about some MP who is representing his people.
MP, you are even going far. MP is far. Let's go to the Makola market. Let it be about some Makola. They will deal with the case right now. These things are not good, and we need to work on them. Okay? We need to work on the judiciary. I mean, you see, all the problems that they enumerated, they are not new. They've been with us consistently. And in fact, for me sitting here, some of them, it is better this time than, but if the problem exists, we are not going to do comparative terms and say, oh, maybe the percentage of whatever at this time, or you see, when the problem exists, and some of these things, we should have taken them off our system than, allow us to become a mockery of the international world, and coming from countries that also, find themselves in the same thing, and they will not even focus on fixing theirs, but they poke their nose everywhere into thinking that somebody gotta fix something because they are the police of the world and all these kind of stuff. We need to be responsible. We need to see ourselves as, this and these and these are the problems. The problem with infrastructure deficit, the problem with the civil servants, the problem with corruption. And I agree with you. The office of the special prosecutor. You see, this is what makes, when I was here and I was saying, oh, Ajabin will do the second one, the first one, I said, yeah, this one I say it's gonna work. And then Ajabin came, and then Paul was telling me, Kagape, take it easy. These people, and then you see, it makes it sad. It makes you sad. What is preventing you? If you cannot work, tell them, oh, this office, unfortunately, it can't work, so let's push it aside. But you've been there, you don't give us the report, they get paid, we have money in there, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Amuzu. March 4th, I pay for 5 passports. 1 week each. Up till now, only 2 have been received. You see, there is something fundamentally wrong with the system. And it looks as if, if I were there, I would have taken them. If I were there, but you see, they go and the system is, sir, they say come and pay this. They say come and do this. No, I came to the office, I came in there. But you see, if I had passed outside, if I had passed through someone else, people were charging some other whatever, then you would have had it. So you see, the thing is there, then there's find a way to create some kind of cloud. And leaders seem to don't know what to do. So when you have a country where people like Canada, Japan will come on radio and complain about certain things that, hey, seriously, when you on the radio, certain key figures, powerful people will come and complain about things that, it's just a phone call away or stuff like that. Then it tells you that, the whole system needs overhauling. And it is not a case of just putting it on this, on that one there. But there has to be that consciousness that, no, we are running the country down and we need to get up and do things right. Everybody has a stake in there. But much go for the leaders, much go for people in government, people in high places, that are supposed to put their foot down and cause a change.
Thank you so much. So FR has just effectively indicted his own government, and which means that perhaps we can excuse the NDC people now because FR has done your job.
No. I didn't. Every government.
Okay. All right. So Lifetime Legacy, if you are there, let's hear what you have on this issue. All the problems that we've had in the past continue to exist and continue to get worse. And we have even our, other neighboring countries pointing to us where our problems lie. Me listening to this, I was telling myself that it probably seems the State Department has been listening to the Ghana agenda. What is your reaction to this? What do we need to do?
Alfred, I never expected anything different from IFA as far as defending the corrupt behavior, corrupt nature, of his government. I don't expect anything different from him.
But he didn't defend them. He actually bashed them. Anyway,
he did.
Yeah.
He did. And at the tail end of his defense, he has forgotten himself to expose the reality that he was initially was trying to defend. I probably think that he was not conscious of the tail end of what he was saying. If he had been conscious, he would make that comment. Let me go on to make my point. I have these questions for Ifa. He's questioning the State Department for making the observation they have made. Ifa, have you seen 7-0 in terms of judicial ruling in this country? Have you seen 9-0 ruling in judicial as far as judicial is concerned in this country?
Yes, I've seen plenty. I've seen all, yeah.
In this country?
Yes.
So it's a common thing that should happen in Ghana too.
It's not common, but you always do have judges dissenting, but there are always times to let all the judges, even though they may not be part of, a majority, they may consent. In other words, they agree with the judgment and they may come up with their own little spin on it, why they think they agree, which is not necessarily consistent with. So a judge may agree with the ruling, but based on a different line of thinking. Okay. And sometimes they decide to write about that line of thinking. Some other times they will just let it go, even though they disagree. So yes, it is.
So,
It is.
Alfred,
Yeah.
compare such situation to our case. Since Nanagdo came to power and appointed 11 or 12 judges into the Supreme Court, compare that one until the recent one where they give us Kandapa ruling. Okay, until recently, one of the rulings they give us 5-2, which everybody describe as Kandapa ruling. It's those are the things that are being talked about. Corruption now in Ghana, it's more or less have become a common thing or a norm. I was one time in my what do you call it? One of my classes here in US, and there is this African American who was a special teaching assistant. When he took over the class and was leading us in a discussion, he made the remarks about Ghana being a corrupt country, a country where corruption is a common thing. Meanwhile, I was in the class boasting of my country, and just for me to be exposed by this person who have not even visited the country before, and being I think one of two blacks in the country, I was so embarrassed, and I'm not surprised at the impunity at which Akufo-Addo and his government are committing crime, killing people here and there. We were told by his own friends, Nyahota Maklo and Kwesi Kumsin. These people won us prior to the elect of Akufo-Addo into power. The very thing that people warn us about are the very thing he's doing. Akufo in 2007 also made the same thing, that he wants somebody who will succeed him, somebody who he can go, will succeed him for him to go to retirement peacefully. The man spoke in parable, we never understood him. But the reality now is what we are seeing now. So all that we can say is that let us pray and hope that 2024 will just come quickly for us to have our way by voting these people out.
Okay.
After the only thing now that for me is left is the corruption have taken the society to the extent that the only thing that is left for now is you'll be walking as a citizen on the street of Ghana. Somebody will come and hold your hand. And when you question the person will tell you, you've been sold to me. That is the only thing that is left now.
Okay. Thank you so much.
For us not to get to that stage, let all of us continue to advocate. Let all of us continue to pray. Let all of us continue to make the noise that we are supposed to make. We are expecting the moral society we need within the country to speak out, rather than they hiding behind the politics, behind no feel that they will get and keep their silence. If they don't speak now and at the appropriate time there's a change of government comes and they come to speak, we will go after them.
All right. Thank you so much, Lifetime Legacy, aka Gasto Apollon. All right. So that's Lifetime Legacy. Now let's transition to the NPP one more time. Kojo, if you can hear me, Kojo.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Nothing be improving on the human rights front. Like we say, our prisons are choked. We are arbitrarily arresting people. Corruption in governments is on the rise. People get brutalized, beaten by the security forces. There's been 8 people killed during our election. Kaka was beaten and to death. Fix the Nation members get picked up, locked up. It's just on and on. And this report that we are describing today cite examples after examples of impunity, as if there are no laws in the country. Our judiciary is corrupt, all branches of government are corrupt, etc., etc. What do you say to this? I mean, in hearing this, how do you feel as a Ghanaian? Does it bring you any source of shame to belong to a country that seems not to always get it? Even though we are always promised, or the rhetoric, when you hear our politicians speak, you think they'll solve all these problems by the end of their first year. But we go on years after years and the issues are still there. What do you say to that?
Thank you, Fred. Again. The thing is, I agree with Dr. Kofi Annan, the head of Kofi Annan Institute, in what he said. All this thing that the U.S. brought is just complete rubbish. The fact is that it's rubbish. We know what goes in there. We live in here. I'm a truck driver, owner at the same time. I know what goes on in this country, right? They're talking about corruption. There's no corruption in this country than anywhere. They portray themselves to be different. Can you hear me, Amazon? Can you hear me, Amazon?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. So this report is just BS. They will say in their own words, baloney, right? This is a copy and paste thing that have been written since our Fourth Republic came into existence 30 years ago.
I disagree. So, they're telling you, they're citing you specific examples of carcass murder, our election, and how many people we lost.
There was the first time somebody has been beaten to death by a mob.
Independence Day. I'm just saying. So they are a little more specific, you know.
I'm just
I'm just agreeing with the cut and paste comments.
Yes, look at it. Go see somebody that I trust, you might disagree with, came in and just cited the report from 2013, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, up to date. The same thing, copy and paste. This is Kweku Baku Jr.
But what Baku left out is that the report is very specific to the years. If you go to look at what was reported in 2013, the facts are different. But if your country is corrupt since 2013, 2014, 2015, what do you expect them to write? Should they say that it's not corrupt this year and it's corrupt another year? No. So you're going to see that the similarities within the report. So Kweku Baku should, come again,
No, they should come again, or maybe you should come again. Because the reason is, let me just learn. I'm not disputing the fact of those things being existed. What I'm saying is, if these people are telling us, and that is the reason why we Ghanaians should be taking it serious, then we need not to be as if we should just sold the country to whoever is the highest bidder and then just move on. Because we have intellectuals, we have people who are very.
We're not saying we are taking it serious because the Americans are telling it to us. That's why
we're reading, and that's why we're reading. The civil societies in our Ghana have been printing this thing out every day, day in and out. It doesn't have that recognition
there's a report that reminds us of the issues we have. We should talk about it. So I'm saying we're not saying it is important to us because Americans are saying it. It's just another report reminding us of the things we even on this program have been talking about every day. And
so this is I'm agreeing with you, but maybe the contents of which I'm putting in is not what you're agreeing with. But I'm agreeing with you that we all know this is a problem that exists from 19 It's not now.
It's getting worse.
It's not something that it has always getting worse.
No.
Society is evolving. No, listen. So can you tell me corruption that was going on in 1992 is the same that was going in 1996? It was the same that was going in 2000. Was the same that was going in 2004? It has always been increased. It has always been a dynamics to it.
We've done things like we've set up the Office of Special Prosecutor. We've done things that.
And then what has it brought us?
Zero. That's what I'm saying. That why did we waste our time to do that? It's a failure. It's a failure of leadership. Why should we waste our time to do all those things just to not get any result from them? I mean, why set up the special prosecutor's office and pay people if there's not going to be anything done? You know what I mean? That's in itself a waste of money.
Let me say this. As humans as we are, and as long as we are becoming existing, there are bad people and there are good people. Some people go into politics in as much as trying to help the ordinary person. Some also go in there for their own personal gains, right? So we're humans. As me and you, Amuzu, Paul, Ifa, and Lifetime all are here, we might have the good intentions, everything. Oh, let's go into politics. We want to help the ordinary person because we made something on our own with our family. So why can't we extend it to the ordinary person that cannot have 3 square meals a day? But once we go in there, there's other forces that are in there that they're not able to achieve whatever me and you or we guys have been able to achieve, and they think they can achieve them was in the government. So you can know those things as humans is going to be in our existence. The way we curtail it is the most important thing. So for me, I'm not saying those things does not exist. It does exist. I have been in the business mind in Ghana. I know how people just get arrested for just not, or you own somebody with business who is supposed to be a civil matter. They're supposed to go to a civil court. They go call his brother or a friend brother that is a police officer, and then they just arrest you. Right? So this things is there. It's not something that can you talk in an aggregate? Yes, because the numbers are increasing every year. The population of 2000 is not the population of 2022. The numbers of the more people the population is increasing, the more crimes are also going to be increasing, and the more people are going to know all these things going on. We didn't have social media in the 2000s where everything is publicized in the second. We didn't have all of that. So yes, we are going to hear all of this coming up, and people have become self-journalism in a way, or self-vigilantes in a way, to bring out things, which is good. The most important thing we all have to be talking about is how do we as society agree or disagree when something is wrong? Because at the end of the day,
society need to agree and disagree when something is wrong, or the people in power need to find solutions.
No. You see, we are talking about people. The power belongs to the people, which is me and you. Even though we don't hold any office whatsoever, you are independent. Let me call that. My brother Paul is in the NDC. I am NPP. Both of us don't hold any position in government, but we hold the power of the Constitution. So we have to demand those things. So I'm talking about society.
So you don't think
NDC,
this is incompetence?
No, just let's focus on something, right? Instead of having a got you moment, just let's focus on something that we all know is bad.
I know. I'm asking that question because your party described this very things as a source of incompetence for the NDC. The NDC is so incompetent they can solve corruption. They are so incompetent they have crowded prisons. They are so incompetent this and so incompetent that. But when it comes to the NPP and they are not able to solve the same problem, you are telling us that society should think of how we accept when things are wrong, or how we think about. I mean, it should be, if it is incompetent under NDC, it should be incompetence under NPP. Don't you agree?
See, the word incompetent is forever owned by the NDC. Don't bring it to anybody else, just by the way. But let me just be on that.
Your own is beyond the incompetent.
No, you have to go find
NPP is beyond the incompetent.
Paul, we already
let me go. Okay, can you wrap up in 1 minute so we can move on?
So, yeah, this is what I'm trying to say. As society here, right? If you listen, for instance, when Donald Trump was president, there was a congressman who was making deals, right? While he was standing on the White House lawn, making deals, selling stocks. The FBI went in there, arrested him. The president, who's so corrupt, was against it. The reason be that we're going for a meeting. Why is it FBI arresting our own people, right? But they didn't give a BS for it. They went ahead and prosecuted those people. That is how our security agencies and the law and all of that supposed to be working for us. That's why I was saying society That is, we all should know that. And somebody does something wrong, it doesn't matter if it's in NPP or NDC. Let society, those laws should
So you
take
really can't
all
just
course.
you can't call MPP or your party out as be sleeping at the wheel, huh? You guys have been in government for how many years?
Hold on.
We still have impunity. We still have corruption on the increase. Special prosecutor now being resourced, having all his appointees being secondment from other offices, and he really can do. His hands are tied behind his back, and you can't call your party. You are telling us society needs to do something else.
No, hold on. Because you put in a question whilst I'm on the verge of like landing and give you a reason and then come to my government, but you don't know. So I am just saying something that is broad. Then you come to people who have been given positions that are supposed to enforce those laws, right? So if you come to my party, yes, I will agree with you. There are so many things that we will not be able to do. We spoke about it, and this is not the first time a politician have been saying this. I will always use the Fourth Republic to make an example. When the NDC was in government in 1992 to 2000, we said all sorts of things. When we came into government in 2001 to 2009, NDC said all sorts of things. We'll cut corruption, we'll do what they did a different thing. So it is something that both government and my government, I would say that I won't be like NDC where they will not even accept any wrongdoing. We have failed in terms of being able to control certain things. For me, indiscipline in our country, we should by now, even 5 years, but it's not late than ever. We can change things. So if you make things like people, when they say somebody is corrupt or somebody has done anything, we should be investigated, prove the person, and say, oh, you're guilty or not. But in our country, most of the time, all these things that we talk, somebody's corrupt, somebody took a bribe from me. You ask him who did it. That same person will say, oh, I don't know. How are we going to prosecute people when you're not giving evidence to the same people?
No, you can't blame the people. You can't blame the people under the previous administration. They actually
I haven't blamed anybody.
You're saying people point to somebody that they did wrong, and then when you want to investigate, they say they don't know what. I mean,
I didn't mention anybody. I didn't mention that the former NDC. No, okay. It has been the norm. Listen, it has been the norm for all government, successful government, or past government coming to be. Well, anytime there's allegation of anybody doing something wrong, you go through the same process in court. Like somebody like Opuni is being called since 2017, and we can't prove anything. Why don't we just like, hey, you guys, they don't have anything on this guy. Let him move. Right? The right thing should be done. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about me being, NDC, so let me go, or NPP, let me go. Let the right thing to be done. Then everybody will believe in these things that they so-called are telling us they have it here. You know what goes on in courts here in America? Don't you know? You don't see what the police... I even believe Ghana police more than American police because they won't shot me.
Right. Okay.
So please, let's think about our country. Yeah, let's think about our country, but we shouldn't always take advice from these so-called Western world, but listen to professionals and people who have good moral, very competent in terms of doing those researches and bringing out front. Then we people can say, hey, this thing is bad. How are we going to do it now, defending NDC or NPP? That's the most important thing we have to think about, not this rubbish thing they brought us to us.
Thank you so much. All right. So, Paul, I don't know if maybe once you become an executive of your political party, it's hard. I mean, you can always point to the fog. Oh, it's the people. Oh, it's the society. I think that's what Kojo tried to do, but he kind of redeemed himself towards the end there. Kojo is saying that, you know what, we should just, press upon our leaders to do the right thing, regardless of, who's in power. During the NDC times too, we've had reports like these, very damning reports. But NPP promised they were going to fix it. Obviously, they haven't fixed it. If the NDC comes into power and we get another report of this nature, Paul, would you be able to criticize them?
Well, let me start by saying that, my brother DC, Kojo DC, was just playing propaganda and mischief. That's all what he was doing. He was not addressing the issue. He was just trying to speak American English to confuse the listeners this afternoon. That's all what he was doing. Look, what are the facts? The facts are this. Whatever it is that was in that report from the report that we're discussing, they are the truth, nothing but the truth.
All right.
The truth is very difficult to swallow or to take, but if you take it and you work on it, it will help. Let me also state that when my brother Ifa was talking, he said that we already know them, which means Ifa has admitted this afternoon, and I'm happy, and I want this record or this tape. I want a copy of this tape. Ifa has admitted this afternoon that his party is full of corruption. There's corruption eating the party, which he has admitted to it. Ifa has admitted this afternoon that injustice is under his president and under his government. Ifa has admitted this afternoon there is abuse of office under his government. Nobody is saying that these things, have not happened before. It has happened before, but these things happen under the human rights president is beyond board. It's over what we all expected. Because this is the case, we have a human rights president as the president of the country. And under the same human rights president...
Human rights lawyer.
Human rights lawyer. I'll call him human rights president. He said he's a lawyer, but he's the president. I'll call him human rights president. And like this human rights president, corruption has hit the ceiling, which he, the president himself, was involved in a Mary deal, a Japa, name them, PDS. The president was deeply involved.
But that's not the first time we would have a president being accused of being involved.
Just hold on. I'm coming. I'm going to listen. When it comes to corruption in NDC time, the president of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama never hide it. Any corruption case that comes under his government, he makes sure that it is being investigated and the people are brought to justice. Example, the bus branding. That's the topical issue for my good brother Ifa, who always make issues. When this issue came out, may her soul rest in peace, Jifa Gomashi was asked to reverse that contract, cancel it, and then make sure that he recoup over 1 million.
I think you're referring to somebody else, not Jifa Gomashi. Jifa Gomashi is alive.
Sorry,
is there even
Tivo? Sorry, Tivo. Yeah, Tivo. Sorry. Yes, Tivo. The 1 million Ghana cedi was returned back to the government cafes, and she was impressed to step aside.
Right.
Number two, Victoria Hammer. When she create or try to make a private conversation that you want to make $1 million before getting out of power, when this issue came out, she was asked to step aside. These are two corruption cases, example I've given to you, which action were taken by the then president, John Dramani Mahama.
Right.
Under this super incompetent Nanado's government, Bawumia's government, which of the corruption cases has Nanado allowed proper investigation to go on and has acted? None. Zero. Now, let's talk about the corruption in the judiciary. Look, it was under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's era that Anas expose came. If the president was somebody who do not want his government to be tarnished, he would have covered or killed that case. This Anas expose, if it would have happened under Nanado's government as we are in, it would have been buried and nobody will hear about it.
Right.
I am saying that the injustices in the system is becoming more and more. And I am putting on a record that under this super incompetent government, corruption has hit to the roof. Injustice is hitting to the roof. Human rights, freedom of suppression is being suppressed day in, day out, whereby when people speak, they come after them and go after them. So for me, this report is a true reflection of what is happening. They give vivid examples where they stated about Kaka, they said about the way Kennedy Japan threatened Erasmus Asari. All those examples are facts and they are true. Well, I will agree with my brother Ifa that, the state agency that is making this report, in this country, similar things are happening and we agree to it. I'm not going to deny here and say that America is, no, it's happening over here too. But this is something that we have been talking about, and they've been denying, Now, the cat is out of the bag. I would advise this government to rather take this feedback in good faith and work on it, because it's on record that in 2020 alone, we lost over 20 billion Ghana cedi as form of revenue in form of corruption. What is the government doing about it? Have they put up a mechanism to block all those loopholes in the government sectors where that people will not just misappropriate fund? We don't know what they are doing about it. So for me, it's a feedback that we should all work on it as a country, as a people, and let's move our country forward. Otherwise, we are going to do this. State agencies will always, they have their embassies in our country. They're going to, send these reports, and these reports are going to come out. Right. So for rubbishing it, just like the way Kojo DC and did, I think if I did well, not to try to rubbish it, but if I admitted it, and if I try to, let's find a solution. And for the solution that he has put it on the table, I agree to it. Look, let's all of us fight and end the injustice in the system. Okay. Let's all of us fight and end the corruption that has eaten the first president and his vice president and the members of his government. Let all of us fight and stop it. Let us all of us fight and stop the abuse of office, whereby they use the military and the security agencies and then how do you call it, and the national security to threaten people, to abuse people. If people fall foul to the law, take them through the due process. Make sure that within 40, you don't hold them more than 48 hours. These are the things we are talking about. And I am not going to play politics with this. I've been very balanced and neutral in this aspect. And I'm saying that let's all work together and make our country great. Ghana is all of us. Ghana is where we belong to. Ghana is where we will go back to. Let's all work and then make sure that we reduce, this report that has come out. Next year is going to be worse. Why is it going to be worse? Because Sewa Bruni will be now captured. This report is captured is for the report for 2021. In 2022, this Sewa Bruni scenario has come up. Human rights abuse, whereby they send national security to go and abuse it. All this thing will come up in next year's report. So we should expect worse report next year. And I would not be surprised if next year we get a similar report or something worse than what we have gotten. All that I'm saying is that let us work as a country. Let's work as brothers and sisters. Let's all help this super incompetent government to stop the corruption, reduce the corruption, stop the abuse of office. The injustices should stop. The using national security to change the citizens should stop. All the things that have been stated, let's make sure that Nanado is a human rights lawyer and human rights activist and a human rights president. He should use that accurate to stop all these things that is happening. And thank you. And I think it's 4 o'clock. I need to leave. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you so much.
You have to stay and listen to me.
Okay, so let's hear your last word. I think you've made your comments on this already. So give us your last word so we can get out of here.
Yeah, I wanted him to stay and listen. I needed to correct him. You see, when they write this report and you pin it down to this government, when most of the things that are saying have been persistent, then you are not doing justice to the topic. Other than that, we skip and we go and we come back and we come back and forth. Now, you see, we as a government, we've done a lot about the fight against corruption. You gotta get that. If you take this Fourth Republic, we are the ones that have punished corruption. And the records are there. The records are NDC, they will come and talk and this and that and that. It is not true. No,
you're doing a rebuttal. Let's just go. Let's do a last word and go.
no. When I'm done with my this thing, you can, because he mentioned some certain things that are not free. Okay, so you mentioned Atibo and stuff like that. Why didn't you mention Mahama Ford and Airbus and stuff like that? Things of international proportion. Things that we were told that the Vice President Mahama during his meals time was under investigations. Why wouldn't you talk about that? So when we are discussing these things and you don't pin them down to institutions and things that have come and then, try to look at it in various ways and pinpoint it, you are not going to do. And then we have to end that. Ghana too should have a report on America. We should also put it together. We sat here, they went to Iraq and killed somebody. We sit here, they use this thing to make sure that, you see, I tell you guys, right? When it comes to security, you don't know. Do you know what they do to the citizens as far as security is concerned? Huh?
We are
Do you know
saying
how many people are killed by state institutions in America? You have no idea. Go check the records. So these people,
why are we talking about America?
Here they have worse. That's why I'm saying a prostitute cannot go and tell a pastor who has fornicated how to be moral. Yeah, how to be moral. Now, so summing up, what I want to say is that it's always a pleasure to be here. I've enjoyed it. And that I hope that my submission have been so great that next week I will have the honor to be invited, because coming here is not a privilege. Nobody should think that you are so good that he's just going to call you. You can be replaced. We are replaceable. But we thank you for the honor, and we thank listeners for always coming to listen to us. We appreciate you. It can be heated by pay. This is it. I mean, if there's anybody out there, I think that you can put this thing over there, your number, Amozo. If there's anybody out there with information and stuff like that, we can vet them so that we can get diverse views on this show. We want to make this show one of the best out there. Thank you very much. Lifetime Legacy, I'm going to give you a call, and Kojo, I'm going to give you a call. We have something to discuss after this. Business must continue. We can't always come here and be punching. Thank you.
I'll be expecting your call.
So as you can hear, this gentleman, even though they fight on air, they are very good friends behind the scenes. So that's how it works here. So Kojo, let me bring in Lifetime Legacy. Give us your last word and let's go.
Okay.
Alfred, I was expecting my brother Kojo
in 1 minute,
at least in a word or two, see something wrong in his government and provide a solution.
Okay.
But all that he came to do was to defend the wrong his government is continuing to do. You see, the moment you begin to do a comparison, you are indirectly not admitting that you are at fault. And my friend and brother Efa and Kojo, you see, if the society in which we live here is worse, I don't think he and I will enjoy staying here.
Okay. Last words.
So it is not the worst. It is the best. That is why you and I, we've left our rotten one and we are here. So the better ones that we have observed, the better ones that we have seen here, that when we compare them to what is happening in our home is not good. Let's talk about those things. Okay.
That's your last word. Let's go.
You want a service in America here. You go, by the time, let me tell you a practical example. I was going for driver's license.
Give us your last words. Forget about
I am coming to that.
We don't have the time.
I was going for license.
We don't have the time for that. Just
let,
give us
let him learn. Let him learn.
Give him. Amozo, please. Let him
rent a little bit. I have people waiting for me.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So to sum it up, the corruption have taken over, and we expect Efa and Kojo to name and shame their government and to call their government to order. They should do the right thing. After all, Ghana is where you and I have as home.
Thank you so much. That's your last word. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. To wrap it up, just to make my brother like a little bit. I'm not denying the fact that there are corruption, there are injustice in our country. I'm just saying where it's coming from. It's not something like my brother first said. You don't go tell a prostitute that the pastor is fornicating. That's the point thing that I'm trying to establish. But at the end of the day,
today,
at the end of the day, this is what we all have to do. We have to speak against everything that goes wrong, irrespective of our political party. But because we have a country where when somebody is being prosecuted and they are even, for instance, from a different government, and then that people who are left the government would defend their people, and they say, oh, you are prosecuting me because I'm a different party. No, when something is wrong, we should all say this is wrong. So when it turns, then the table turns, we'll all defend. This is something that we all know is immoral to do. We are hating our people. There's corruption in our country because you have both sides of the aisle. People who never work one day in their life, they have degrees in engineering and law, and they've never set their foot in any offices, but they just join politics and become rich. How do they make those money? Those are the things me and you have to talk about. And those are the things that if we all speak against, there will be the future where we can enjoy will not come here and sit in America. When we see police, we'll be scared.
Oh my God, you scared when you see police? Okay, all right.
You think they're gonna get shot?
All right.
I'm not scared when I'm living in Ghana. Police will not shot me.
Okay. Okay. Big boss. Paul, if you can give us your last word, and we'll bring today's to an end.
He's gone. Let him go. He's busy.
Oh, he's there. Paul, can you hear me? All right. So we can't hear from Paul. All right, guys. So that is it. If I cannot hear from Paul, can you hear me?
Focus on the event, Paul.
Okay, I think we're having some issues with Paul. All right, guys, that has been great today. The conversations has been solid. I love all the contributions. Today is not as contentious as usual, but it's good. This is how I think it should be. I wanted to take the opportunity to say a big thank you for coming to the show today and contributing, and to all the listeners and viewers who took time off their schedule to hang with us for the last 2 hours. If this is your first time, this is the Ghana Agenda. We are on every week from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And we are happy to have you help share our link so others can see. Again, next week we'll be back to discuss some of the most pressing issues in our country. My name is Alfreda Muzu. I've been joined by Paul Disosu of the NDC, Kojo DC of NPP, Afa Mayel, the Deputy Director of Communications, NPP USA, and Lifetime Legacy. Again, this is the Ghana Agenda. We'll be back next week. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp SMS IL65 to